Hello and welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and all that other shit. I am your host, Author Kiki Chanel. I'm also a certified life coach and owner of 19 Lifestyle Magazine. Um, I am ecstatic today because I have a beautiful guest who is about to share some amazing things with you listeners. Y'all know how I like to do. I like to give them an opportunity to tell you a little bit about who they are. So, Colleen, tell the people who you are, what you do, and thank you for coming to kick it with me today.
Thank you for having me. I know that's the normal response, but I know how valuable time is, and I just thank you for the yes. I'm so happy to be here. Ecstatic as well to have met you and have this
Hey.
conversation. So we like to describe who we are by what we do in life, right? And I'm trying to reframe that a little bit in that I am a person who is older in life. I'm in my 60s, and I've kind of coming full circle at this age of, figuring out life. And as my life is coming to an end, I am a person who is really reviewing my life choices and kind of coming back to being a kid. Like, I am a person who was and am a, I try to really follow the golden rule of love your neighbor as yourself. And so I'm a loving person, let's just say. Career-wise, I'm a commercial fisherwoman, and that's provided my income for years. And within my like metamorphosis of who I am, I'm also a health coach. I'm writing a book. Well, I wrote the book, but it's in the editing stage, so it's not quite done to be shared yet, physically. But yeah, so I'm just a person trying to share a message in life, and I've kept a promise. I made a promise to my late husband who died by suicide that I would try to make a change, a difference with his death
Mhm.
through my whole process. And so it kind of got from light and fluffy to really heavy really quick. So, but at the end of the day, that's why I'm here with you today is to share the message. And if it can help someone, that's
Right,
beautiful.
absolutely. Well, I thank you for being here. I thank you for being transparent. Uh, we're talking today about choosing to live differently. So we're going to start off a little icebreaker just to get you because it got a little heavy, and we're going to go back there a little bit. If your mindset was a superhero, what would what superpower be?
Wow. I've never considered that. I'd probably have to go with like Spider Woman if there's one. Spider Man.
Hmm. And
I
you'll
don't
be
know why,
Spider Woman.
honestly.
Hey, I love that though.
I like to fly. I like to help people. I don't really like spiders. I quite honestly wouldn't know why. I don't really know why I answered that, but I'd say Spider Woman. If there's
Okay.
if there's not one, there should be.
Absolutely. We should always have a woman superhero in every form and fashion, right?
Exactly.
If mindset shifts came with the flavor, what flavor would yours be right now?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yeah. I
Okay.
can answer that one quickly.
And why would it be chocolate though?
Smooth, like makes your senses happy, joyful, just you want more.
I love it. I love it. Chocolate. I think mine would be red pepper flakes, like pepper,
Really?
because it's kind of intense, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like excitement going on right now. Like, yeah, it would probably be some like red pepper flakes or something for me
I,
in this
I love
moment.
that.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
All right, so you are a commercial fisherwoman. How did that happen?
I dropped out of college. I was a binge drinker, drinking my way through school, and it didn't get me very far. And so my friend was fishing, and she said, "Hey, you want to give it a try? Like, just go to over here and apply." And so that's what I did. I was ready for something new.
Mhm.
Yeah. And honestly, it's a great career. So I like to throw this out there to any listeners. I mean, for women our age, you're probably not going to go commercial fishing, but if you have kids or someone in your family who's kind of looking for something, for some type of job, you don't have to necessarily live in the area. You can, it's a great career. It's been my career for 36 years. So,
Wow.
um, I'm always willing to kind of help lead someone in the right direction as far as applying. That's how I got my job. That's kind of how it works in the industry is you know someone and then you get into the industry. So, and we have all types on the boat of people. So it's very international and we're all there to work and be team
Absolutely.
team players.
Nice. I love it. I love that because it's unusual, but I could see why you love it. I could see why you would love it because you're on the water and everything is all good, and then it's time to get up and get these fish. Like, is there a moment that stands out to you about being a fisherwoman that has inspired your journey to this day?
Yeah, great question, Kiki. It's intense. The job is intense. And the reward is, there's a lot of rewards. It's hard to push through it when you're doing it. Like sometimes living it is really hard. When you're done, you can take a huge deep breath. You got money in the bank and you have time off. Like I am off
Mm,
until May.
wow.
So it's seasonal work.
Hmm.
You are taken away from society because you're floating around on a boat for days while you're under contract. Um, but it allows you space and time to fill up your bank account and maybe plan a trip you've always wanted to do. Or, some people have families, they're supporting their families, someone's at home kind of taking care of home base and someone's on the boat sending home the money. So there's just um, yeah, it's working hard and then getting the rewards.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I would definitely. I need to pass that around to, like, I got a couple of people that I can think that would probably benefit from that because
Hmm.
they don't really gel well with society. So being out on the water
Hmm.
may be something that they need.
Exactly. And we used to call it the floating rehab. And I'm not insinuating the folks you're
Hmm.
talking about are trying to get away
Hmm.
from substance abuse or anything, but
Right.
I'm just saying that that was one of the reasons I loved it was to dry out for me. But also just to I wasn't a desk. I didn't want to sit at a desk. I like to move. Um, yeah, it was perfect for me. And so a lot of people don't realize it's out there and they don't
Hmm.
even know where to go to begin. And there are places you don't want to go. So, I like to be helpful. Someone helped me get started, and that's kind of how it works. You do have to show up and hopefully do the job.
Hmm.
So, uh, because some people do show up and they can't handle it, and so they might quit or whatever. Um, but it's yeah, it's available, and I'm here to help steer someone if you want. I can give you some information of who to
Okay.
contact. Yeah,
Absolutely. I love that, and thank you for that. So
you're
we're talking
welcome.
about choosing to live differently.
Hmm.
When in your life did you make the decision to live differently?
So I'm a binge drinker, what they call binge drinker. And that's someone who drinks four or more drinks in an incident, or five or for a female, five or more for a male. And the thing with the binge drinking is you're not always drinking, so you don't consider yourself. I didn't consider myself alcoholic because I didn't drink all the time. And even when I did drink, I didn't always drink too much, right? But the thing with binge drinking is there, we call it partying, right? You're gonna party. So, anyone who parties knows what I'm talking about. There's times when maybe you partied and you overdid it and then you did something you regret. And a lot of times for me, on those instances, I would wake up the next day and say, okay, I got to stop drinking. Like that was crazy, right?
Hmm.
But then I'm not drinking the next day or the next week or the next month. And I'm like, I don't have a problem. That was just that one time. It wasn't that bad. I won't do it again. But the last time I drank unexpectedly, binge drank, I drove home drunk and something I'm not proud of for sure. And there's a whole explanation of why I did that. Like some, people would say, well, that's stupid. Why did you do that? And the whole thing with drinking is you make decisions irrationally. So, but I did on the drive home, I was aware enough to realize how drunk I was. And then I realized I said a prayer that if I got home safely without killing anyone, and I should have stopped right there and got off the side of the road, but I was intended on getting home, that I would quit drinking.
Hmm.
And the next day I woke up super hungover and ashamed of myself, and I started the process of figuring out how to quit drinking.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you
that
for
was five
sharing
years
that.
ago. You're
Okay.
welcome. Yeah, yeah.
Now, I know you've lived through some incredibly challenging experiences, from being a fisherwoman to losing your husband. How did
hmm
those experiences shape your perspective on resilience and hope?
hmm Um, the when you're living it and when you're going through it, it can be hard to see the hope, or it can feel hopeless. But if you just, you just once you move through it, and hopefully a person can, and I was fortunate to be able to move through the periods of my life that felt hopeless at times.
Mhm.
I realized how strong I am.
Mhm.
I realized that I've gone through these things for a reason. It's part of my life journey of becoming who I am today. And now my question is, how can I take these experiences and the resilience and the hope and the what I did to move through those hopeless moments to maybe help society? And that's where I'm at now.
Okay. I love that because some people stay stuck in it and never come from it. So I'm glad that you are pouring back into yourself in a positive way instead of, having that victim mentality, so to speak, and not wanting to
Yes.
change because I've been there. I've been there where I didn't love myself, so I allowed other people to love on me the wrong way. And I didn't
hmm
have a drinking problem. It was a you're not good enough. It was a mindset thing. And so the more I would tear myself down with negative self-talk, I would find myself in the company of people that didn't mean me any good. And it wasn't until
mm
I decided that I want better for myself, I deserve better for myself, that I started to let those people fall off the way that they were supposed to, because they never should have been there in the first place. I think that it was just a learning experience that I needed to go through as a part of who I am right now. Because had I not gone through those dark moments, I don't think that I would be the person that you see right now.
hmm
Yeah.
Wow. Kudos to you
Thank
to
you.
realizing you're worth it, right?
Right.
And then now you're here to help and empower other women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, how did your personal journey of binge drinking influence the way you approach growth and choosing to live differently?
I think my binge drinking is something I denied for a long time. Like my whole drinking experience, honestly. I didn't I didn't equate myself with having a problem. It was just like, oh, I partied too much that night, right? And so the binge drinking was always just kind of, oh, not really a problem for me. My growth was happening, but then I'd have a little setback because I would binge drink and then I'd go through the shame because when you binge drink and you do something you're not proud of, that's kind of out of your character or out of your
Mhm.
value set. You, I would internalize that as, you're a bad person. Like, how could you, why'd you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Those negative self-talk you start doing, which kind of set me back on my growth journey. Um, but like if you have two buckets, maybe one bucket gets a little empty. So then I'd fill it up with doing deeds of good, like being, kind to volunteering, things like that to help fill up my bucket of I am a good person, even though I did
Mhm.
that over here. That's not who I am. So my whole life's been, my drinking adult life has been kind of trying to balance those things. And so for me now, it's beautiful not to have the drinking because now I can just focus on the growth, knowing that I'm not going to have setbacks with my drinking.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
What advice would you give someone who feels trapped in old patterns and cycles, knowing that change is possible?
Yeah. Um, I like to try to frame it this way, and I do this for myself too. I ask the question, what's one thing I could take away from my life that will improve it? That's
Mm,
kind of like starting in baby steps, right? Like instead of for me, instead of looking at the whole picture, like, oh my God, I have to do this, 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 and then would get overwhelming. Like, so then you'd have paralysis because you just like got, you don't really know where to start. So if you
hmm
start with maybe one thing, what's one thing you can take away? And usually if we have our list of things that we want to improve or, we know what's at the top of the list, right?
hmm
We're smart women, right? What's the,
Right.
what's the number one thing we need to stop doing? And then
Right.
on the counter thing is okay, with that, what's one thing we could add?
Mm,
And that's going to be different for everyone.
okay. I like that. I like
You,
that. I'm gonna use that. I
yeah,
like that
do.
because I can feel something brewing that I need to let go of. It's there. I just have to figure out. It may be multiple things. I don't know, but something is there that I need to let go, take away, and then add to. That's awesome. I love that. Y'all listening? I hope y'all listening to that. If not, rewind it and listen again.
I love that, Kiki. Yeah, and for those people who are ready to take on more, then of course, make your list. I'm getting rid of this and this and this and this. But just to not be overwhelming is the point of just what's one thing, right?
Right, right. You want to start
Yeah.
where it is practical. You don't want to give yourself a reason to set yourself up to not reach whatever goal it is that you're setting for yourself. Because we do that all the time. We have a list, we get mad because we only do two things off the list, not realizing that those two things matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all about giving ourselves grace and self-compassion because we don't do that enough. I find I was one of those people that never celebrated the small things because I was
Mm-hmm.
always trying to get to the bigger things. But the small things matter. They're like the stepping stones for the big moments, right?
Yeah. And we all have to start somewhere, right? We don't
Hmm
start at the top. Well, maybe some people do, they're gifted, but
hmm
most of us have to practice to get there.
Yep. And it starts with baby steps. Yep, baby steps. So let's talk about the upcoming book, Life Beyond the Binge. I love that name.
Oh, thanks. I love
How
that.
did Yes, how did you come up with the name?
Yeah, this is my first time trying writing a book. And so it's been, when I quit drinking, I've always, okay, let me back, like all these thoughts in my head, and where do I start? Okay, so I like to write, and I know you do too. And so I've always been kind of writing my like in in secret, right? I've got my journal. I've never like really shared my writing. And so a book's been a dream of mine. And so I started writing on Substack. Are you familiar with Substack?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I started writing on Substack and I started working with this guy who's successful, a successful writer on Substack. And so he's the one that kind of, I joined his writing program. And in our group, we had to come up with a theme. And so he's the one to kind of really help me unearth this book. Like, what am I writing about? What's my passion in life? What's my message? What's it about? And so um that's how it came about.
Nice. So when I'm not trying to tell you to rush it or whatever, but when can listeners expect to buy and support you? Like when are you doing your release? When is that release coming?
Yeah, thank you. It's May 5th.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's actually being published She Rises Publishing, which is kind of like a boutique publisher to empower women. If anyone's interested in writing a book or writing a chapter in an anthology, Google She Rises Publishing, and it's a great place to start for because it is a challenge to get published by
Mm-hmm.
a rep, renowned publisher. A lot of people are self-publishing or publishing through boutique publishing, and so it's been a great way for me to gain confidence in my writing and then getting some feedback on it and just saying, hey, maybe I do have some talent here that people might want to read. And so it's been inspiring and just yeah. So I would highly recommend if anyone if that's like, oh, I want to write, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, check it out. She Writes Publishing. I think we
Hmm.
all have a story to tell. You just have
Hmm.
to dig deep and sit down and focus enough to do it.
Hmm.
So I'm excited about your book. I would definitely be getting a copy. So I cannot wait to May 5th. Um, what is the overall message that you want readers to take from your book?
Thank you. I love your questions,
Thank
Kiki.
you.
Yeah, the book is about finding your North Star. I have a kind of nautical theme around it because fishing and the ocean and water has been my huge thing. So the North Star for maybe those people who don't know is it's mariners used to use it to navigate in the old days. And so the whole theme is me coming home to my North Star of like who I am, like a journey home within my
Mhm.
soul. And so the book is it's reflective for the reader. I don't want it to be about me because that gets boring unless you're, someone famous. So the whole time I'm sharing some snippets of my life at sea, my drinking journey, my late husband's suicide, mental health and alcohol, and then the whole time it's just kind of reflective for the reader, like you know, some takeaways like how's it going for you? And I'm not preaching to anyone they have to quit drinking. I just keep asking how's it working for you? And if you decide it is, great. I mean, there's no judgment. It's just kind of like here's some things to think about.
Right.
Mhm.
And I love books that way. That way you formulate your own opinion and decision and not have to have somebody to blame because we all find somebody to blame at some point in time in life. But
Mhm.
I love that. I love that you are sharing your experience, but with a different perspective. Yeah. Yep.
Thanks.
hmm So for listeners struggling with grief, addiction, or loss, what's one mindset shift that can make a tangible difference in choosing to live differently?
Well, as we're all unique, I can only speak of my mindset shift that helped me. And I know you shared that your mindset shift and was that you are enough
hmm
and you deserve that with who you surround yourself with, right? Is that I don't want to like
Yeah,
say I
that's
know what you're
exactly
saying.
right. hmm
Okay, so for me, like I had a lot of shame, which I go into in my book through my through an incident that happened to me that I buried. And
Mhm.
so, and it came out in how I was, the choices I was making. And so for me, my mindset shift was when I woke up the next day, I don't even know if I slept, but after that drive home drunk, I had like this mindset shift that this isn't who I want to be. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to show up in the world like this. And so for me, I already knew that I'd tried over the years to not have these moments with drinking, but they kept still appearing throughout my life, like sprinkled in. Not all the time. That's why I kept drinking. But I decided at that moment that the only way I could guarantee I wasn't going to do something like this again, was to quit drinking altogether. And
Mhm.
so it was a beautiful shift for me too, because it's not like I have to quit drinking. I'm just choosing it. It's not helping me in life. It's not who it's Alcohol does not help me become the best version of me. So I could drink if I want, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I could put some vodka in my drink right here, but I'm just saying I don't need it anymore. So,
Right.
and maybe for your listeners, I didn't really answer your question, but maybe, dig deep in whatever it is that's haunting you you're living a way you don't want to live, that's not authentic to who you really are. Um, Maybe try to ask yourself the question, who do I want to be?
Mhm.
And what's the first thing I can do to take away from my life to be that person, and what can I add? And if it means asking for help, I was horrible. I didn't ask for help until that day. I was too proud. And that's one thing. I don't have a lot of regrets, but my life could have been a lot easier if I'd asked for help sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It starts with the choice, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So for anyone who is listening that's struggling to stay positive during their tough moments, what is something that you can remember you doing when it got tough? Because I know it probably did at once upon a time, got really, really
Hmm.
tough for you. Because I know for me it did. My go-to was I journaled, I wrote my feelings out to just get them out and release. That
Hmm.
works wonders. If you don't write or journal, I suggest that you start somewhere. Just write what you feel. Write about what you see every the day. Write about how you felt when you woke up. Write about your favorite color. Just get it out. And that way, when you go back to it, and you don't even have to read it, you can take it and throw it away, burn it up, or whatever you want to do. It's the point is to release it so that you don't feel heavy. So, what is something
Hmm.
that you did during the tough times that got you through it?
Hmm. Journaling definitely is a helpful lifesaver, actually. When I was really depressed after my husband died and I went into my depression, I stayed busy. And I know that can be hard because sometimes you just can't get out of bed. But I had a job that made me get out of bed. I couldn't call in sick. And so I think I just got lucky, because if I could have called in sick, I would have. But I had to show up for work if I wanted to keep my job, which I needed to keep my job. And
Mhm.
so just working through, like, it just kind of seems like you put one step in front of each other. And at some point you get through it. No, this isn't really helpful probably to your listeners, but maybe is there someone you can rely on to call? Like find that person you trust, or that group. And because journaling's helpful for sure, but it's still keeping you alone. So the
Yeah.
connection is an important it was an important thing for me, because when I was alone, it's easier to feel, well, it sounds like you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in the asking help bit, where I mentioned, to ask for help, it's finding wherever you can find your help for yourself, to just say, hey, can you check on me, or can ask for what it is you need?
Right. And I think that when we go through certain things in life, when you begin to heal or you decide that you don't want to be dark in the dark place anymore, that pride is put to the side. So you do have those people that are dropped into your spirit that you say, hey, I need help. Hey, I need a
Mhm.
listening ear. Hey, I just need you to come hang out with me and stay and do nothing. I just need your presence. I thank God that I have a strong support system that I didn't think I had until I went to that dark place and realized that, you know what, my people love me. They still call to check in. Whether I answer the phone and let them know the truth, that was on me. But they did call. They did,
Mhm.
offer words of prayer. Because I had a friend of mine who said that she was led to go to the altar for about 6 months and she didn't know why, because her life was, was good. And when I finally told her what I was going through, she said, I was intervening for you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Give me goosebumps. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So whether we see them or not, someone is always watching, whether they're close to you or not. Well, it could be a stranger. Sometimes strangers can pour into you in ways that you can never fathom. I have
Mhm.
strangers pour into me every day because I work in customer service and I talk to people all day. I love what I do. And it's amazing how people can feel your spirit through the phone
Yeah.
or recognize you as a being a good, genuine person through the phone just by how you associate with them. So
Mhm.
I would offer anyone who's listening that feels like they're alone, they're not good enough, their struggle is bigger than anybody else's. You're not alone. Someone, you have at least one person who is there, who has always been there, and you may have pushed them away, but they're still there. I guarantee it. Reach out to them, and they will
Can
be
I give,
there.
oh, excuse me, Kiki. Can
Go
I give
ahead.
another plug? Are you familiar with the 988 hotline, the crisis
Mm-hmm.
call line? Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's another option maybe for people. It doesn't necessarily have to be, it's not necessarily a suicide hotline. It is for suicide, but it can also be crisis too. So you
Crisis.
can
Mm-hmm.
call for if you don't have someone, or you call someone and they don't answer, you're one person, and it's really a pivotal, critical moment. You can call 988 too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I will also put that in the show notes so you can have that. It may not be for you. You may want to pass it along to someone else. We all need someone to help and look out for us. We were not put here to exist in this life alone, so you don't have to go through it alone. You guys have been listening to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and all that other shit. I have been joined with an amazing guest. She is sharing some of her journey. We're not sharing everything because you got to read the book. She shares more stuff in her upcoming book that will be released on May 5th. Go and support her and buy the book. Hopefully, you will gain some insight, some revelation. Pass it along to someone who may need something that they don't want to get from you. Because sometimes we have to get stuff from strangers because we are too ashamed to share things with people who know us from everything that we've gone through. So, before we get off, is there any words of encouragement or empowerment that you would like to leave our listeners with today about choosing to live differently?
It's our life, right? Women are strong. You are strong. I am strong. Your listeners are strong. And once, we believe it ourselves, we're like unstoppable. And so, whatever you can do to start believing in your strengths and your beauty inside and outside, write your list of how wonderful you are. Not in an arrogant way, but just like, you know, so many badass women out there, right? That aren't claiming
Right.
it. So
Hmm.
let's claim it, ladies, right?
Yes. Not to exclude you men, because y'all can be
Yes.
badass too, but we talk about what we know how to be, and that's a woman, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, to you men out there, sorry.
Not sorry, but yeah. But, but Colleen, it has been amazing having you here. Thank you for coming to kick it with me. It has been a pleasure. Yeah, I would definitely be reaching out to you in the future about this book because I cannot wait to read it. The name alone is very catchy, and just meeting you in person, not physically, but over like how we're meeting. It has just been
Hmm.
amazing because when we correspond with each other, it's like I'm back home, and I could feel the excitement through the words that you were typing. So it has been awesome to put a face to the words and the name. So I
Yeah,
wish you
me
nothing
too.
but continued success, my friend. Um, I'm excited to see where you go. I would have never guessed that you were 60, though. I would have never given you that. Like for real. Like honestly. So I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Yeah, if I was drinking, I'd say, "Hey, let's go get a drink." We have more talking to do.
Right. Absolutely. But again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe. I am back on Thursdays at noon on all your streaming podcast platforms. You can also catch this on YouTube and watch the person behind the voice. I would love your feedback. Make sure that you are sending your questions, topics, or anything to kicking it with Kiki Media at gmail.com. So until next time, purple hugs. Later.
Bye.